Okay, now we're on the Facebook Live. Let's get started. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I hope you've taken your lunch. I think some of you are still in lunch, maybe during noon. I think India is about 12:30 right now, if I'm not mistaken. It's okay. We are all on virtual now. You can have the lunch in front, no problem. Today, this session is our second session brought to you by APDC Connect from 2020 last term. We just ended that term, but we're still presenting you this session today by Gary Lee. Let me introduce you. He is our 2020 National Linguistic Commission Chairperson in JSM Malaysia. I'm Skylar. I'm also from JSM Malaysia. Let me share you some insight of Gary that I have known him for quite some while. Gary is someone you would want to listen to. He have a very, very nice voice to listen to. I think I've met him about 5 years ago in some academy. I think train the trainer. When I talked to him, felt very relaxed, smooth. And I found out that he's actually an MC, doing MC. I'm not sure if you're doing that right now, Gary, but you definitely have the voice for it. It's always very soothing to listen to you, just to speak to you, not even in any seminars, training, workshop. And I'm sure this training you would mesmerize us with your lovely voice, sharing with us leadership in new norms. When I asked him to introduce us, what are you going to share with us? He's not telling us. I guess there's a lot of interesting things that he's keeping it to himself, and let's see. We are interested, and Leadership in New Norms 2020 brought to you by JCABDC. Connect together, future forward. Gary.
Hello, everyone. A very good afternoon. It is my pleasure. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you so much to APDC Connect for giving me the opportunity for me to share here. And thank you so much as well to Skylar, our debate world champion, for his great energy in introducing me and very kind and generous introduction as well. So not that I do not want to share, but I would like to keep this training instead of conveying message to the participants. I would like everyone to actually treat this as part of the sharing sessions. All right. So it is my pleasure today to actually share with every one of you, all beloved participants, about leadership in new norms. All right. So further to what Skylar had just introduced about me, allow me to just add on in terms of my JCI journey. I was the Area Training Director for Area North Malaysia in the year of 2016, and later was once again being appointed as the Area Peace Responsible Director. At the same time, upholding the LO General Legal Counsel in the year of 2017. I was the LO Executive Vice President in year 2018, and I was the LO President last year in the year of 2019 for JCI Bandar Klang. And it so happens that after 3 years of attempt, my local organization has just won the world's most outstanding new local organization last year. Of course, tribute to my entire team for their great teamwork and great momentum in creating that achievement. And this year, I was being given the opportunity to serve for my very last year in JCI in this very vibrant organization as the National Linguistic Commission Chair. So being a National Linguistic Commission Chair, my key portfolio role and responsibility is to propaganda and advocate the importance of the public speaking and debating program in JCI Malaysia, as we always believe public speaking is one of the core competency in leadership program. So at the same time, of course, after the year being the LO president, by default, I serve as the LO immediate past president as well. So this is a little bit background about myself in JCI, in this organization that we call JCI. So that aside, ladies and gentlemen, as introduced by Skyler, yes, I still doing MCing, commercial MCing as part of my luxurious research. By profession, hello. All right. By profession, I'm actually a clinical nutritionist or what we call dietitian. I serve in a nutritional company, nutritional supplement company as the senior sales and marketing manager. So training is part of my working routine. So I've been working very closely with our dealers for the past 17 years. So of course, leadership program is one of the subject matter that concerns everyone because leadership is almost synonym to entrepreneurship. So a couple of house rules that I would like to put forward in this training because I'm actually speaking in APDC Connect session, which I presume that this session is actually open up to more people, not just in Malaysia, but beyond the borders. So there may be viewers from probably Cambodia, probably from Hong Kong, probably from India, etc. So do acknowledge that cultural differences are being observed. So I hope that I'll be able to share some real life example which seems to be valid in your context. So otherwise, the cultural differences will be observed. Apart from this house rules, I always believe that because leadership is actually a action-oriented subject, so it requires a lot of practice to make it perfect. So leadership cannot be entirely taught, but it can only be shared. So I hope my sharing today, if however little will be able to inspire you, then my sharing shall not be in vain. So let me just move on by sharing to all my fellow participants today. I'm sure that some of you have actually come across this information in the past. So there are many different types of leaderships. All right. Let's start from autocratic leadership. Autocratic leadership are those leaders that lead by power or dominance. So very strong view, and no one can actually challenge him. So can you think of anyone who actually lead by this kind of leadership style? If you can think of someone, you can just drop down your answer either in the Facebook comment box or probably in the Zoom chat box as well. So what I can think of is probably the current, what we call the US President Donald Trump is quite autocratic because he leads by supreme power, all right? And no one can challenge his leadership, all right? Very often. So next, we are looking at democratic leader. Okay, as the name indicated, this type of leader is relatively more open-minded and inviting ideas, participations from the team member. So the leader with this type of leadership style will like to involve team member in building a consensus for every subject matter. All right, and usually he or she will actually lead by team decision. So the next type of leadership is what we call laissez-faire leader. So laissez-faire leader always empower the team member, right? It gives relatively more freedom. Laissez-faire leader is not a leader with micro supervision competency. It doesn't go that micro into each details. It's usually just set a direction and KPI for the team member to achieve and allow the team member to administer their own creativity in achieving that results. So what this type of leader will do is basically just monitor and gathering feedback from their team member. The other type of leadership is what we call charismatic leader. Those that when they stand on stage, all right, the leader will automatically catch people attention. Everyone will just look at him. All right. So charismatic leader tends to influence people with personal charisma. All right, very energetic. Okay, but when we say energetic, it doesn't mean that the leader will keep on shouting only. All right, energy is something that very innate actually. For instance, the late Mother Teresa is also a very charismatic leader. All right, people can feel that energy from within. Yeah? Passionate and able to drive people to follow his or her direction. Okay, next we are looking at transformational leader that lead with great vision. Example, Mahatma Gandhi, right? With a great vision that influenced his team member and his people. Very positive and very inspirational. Okay, so the other type of leadership is what we call inspirational leader. Inspirational leader walk down to the field and put himself or herself into the groundwork. Okay, so this type of leader very often appear in charitable organization. So a leader that doesn't care about his status, his social economy status, instead he will walk into the crowd, because this type of leader emphasize that everyone is equal. So he's able to move his team member, influence his team member by leading with example. Last but not least, okay, will be a type of leader that we call servant leader. Servant leader emphasize on serving the people, right? He puts the members' welfare as the top priority. So after looking at all this type of leader, so my fellow participant, what type of leadership do you think you have? Can you just put down your answer in the comment box, please? All right. So in JCI context, ladies and gentlemen, so very often leadership is a big subject, okay? Because at the end of the day, JCI is a leadership platform. We groom leader via four development opportunity, inclusive individual, community, business, and international. So a leader must be able to attract more talents and subsequently building successor or new leaders. Okay. From another's perspective, put it into another words, we say that a leader is not considered successful if he is not able to produce his or her own successor. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, leadership is a subject matter that we want to increase our own power of attraction, attracting more talents into joining our mission. All right. So let's think about this question, fellow participants. What is leadership in JCI? All right. So this is not an absolute answer for sure. All right. Everyone has their own distinct leadership style, or some may have a mixture of different leadership style in a particular individual. But at the end of the day, in JCI, being a non-profitable organization or non-governmental organization, we emphasize more on the welfare of our members, whether we provide sufficient development opportunity to our fellow JCI members or not. Therefore, in JCI, the leadership type that is more applicable is what we call a servant leadership. Okay, so what is servant leadership? Servant leadership doesn't mean that, oh, you have to, make a cup of coffee and serve to your member. That is not what it means. So I think servant leadership, it can be visualized by just looking at this picture now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, servant leadership is as simple as we rise by lifting others. Okay, so if you check on this particular picture, there is a hand, bridging two ends of the what we call the land. So it lifting up, the hand lifts up so that other people can cross over. All right. By doing so, we ourselves achieve the personal achievement. So how servant leaders can actually put this into action. All right. Let us look at a few key points that a servant leaders must apply. First of all, practice active listening. So being a leader in your local organization or be it in your national organization, do you often listen to the feedback from your members? All right. So engage with questions after you hear about an issue. You need to ask some valid questions to gather sufficient information. Respect their competence. Okay, it means also that you need to accept other people's weaknesses as well, recognizing that humanity is the greatest treasure on earth. So everyone is different. While you respect their competency, you also accept their weaknesses. All right. So the other key feature for being a servant leader is always approach as an equal. All right. You don't emphasize yourself that, oh, I'm the president or I'm the secretary and you are just a normal member. Don't. In JCI, I think this is not something that we should practice. All right. Consider personal biases and create a positive environment. So these are some of the characteristics or some of the qualities that a servant leaders can actually put into action. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let us move into uh, the most important questions for today's session. What is leadership in new norms? To answer this question, I think it is empirical for us to really investigate what does it mean by new norms. All right. So new norms is related to the recent COVID-19 global pandemic that actually strikes almost every corner in the world, right? So every country respond differently. Some actually administer very strict lockdown, some otherwise. So you see, even uh, okay, different country they do have different measure in counteract on COVID-19, but as overall we name it as a new norm. So I want to ask you this question, my fellow participant. How do you feel when the COVID-19 strikes your country? And I guess at this point of time, this global pandemic is still happening quite seriously in certain portion in the world, certain region in the world. So this is really something that all of us must be cautious about. But let's reflect and think about this question. When COVID-19 strikes, so how do you feel? So like me myself being a Malaysian, I think historically for this generation, this is the very first time that the entire nations are being, contained under uh, what we call a temporary act that we call movement control order. That government doesn't allow the citizens to go out easily without a strong purpose or strong reason. So everyone is like being locked down at home, staying in a jail. So under that circumstances, how do you feel? Tell me your feeling. All right. So put it down in the comment box. I want to see and I want to check out your feeling and your response about it. I guess most of us, majority people, okay, in JCI context, probably we meet more positive people. But generally, for the entire market, what I observe in Malaysia is that many people feel anxious, all right? They feel lost, they feel pressure because they are worried about the economy, all right? So whether they'll be able to sustain their lifestyle or even sustain their own basic necessity or not, right? A lot of activity has been cancelled or even postponed and things like that. So the feeling is pretty much skewed towards the negative side. Okay. At this point of time, ladies and gentlemen, what will happen to an organization? What will happen to a team? What will happen to JCI? All right. If you are currently the LO president or if you are the national board presidents. So how should you react toward this kind of situation? Okay, so you see, very often, probably we watch from movie as well, in the ancient time. So when the army fight in the battlefield, so they have people playing drum at the back to actually elevate the motivation levels. All right. Similarly, in a horse, what we call a horse racing competition. Okay. Uh, the horse that is very proud and very energetic usually stand a higher chance to win over other horses as well. So that is to say that, ladies and gentlemen, okay, the greatest warrior or the greatest winner in the world must be someone with very strong motivation level. So if we are feeling down, if we are feeling sad, anxious, pressure, so how would you expect your other fellow JCI members to react? All right. So being a leader, sometimes this is a questions. This is a soul searching question that we must look into. We should not let this kind of negative thoughts or negative emotion hinder us from moving forwards. So to make sure that your local organization or your national board always remain highly motivated, we need to inject the uh, happy elements. All right. So can I just have a second to just turn down the alarm? So pardon me because I have some alarm at home.
All right, so for those of you who saw the slide and you share with us what kind of leadership, I guess in JCI we are mostly democratic or in servant leadership, and which I am as well. When I saw that, it's because we were always talking about serving our members, serving our board. It's all back to the ground, and I guess in JCI trains us for that rather than the Donald Trump way. All right, Gary, back to you.
That's right. Thank you, Skylar. Being a leader in GCI, I guess we just need to acknowledge that things will definitely be entirely different. Be it COVID-19 pandemic is still happening or not. So if we look at the life before and after COVID-19, what will be the differences? So if we look at business sector, the economy sector, there are some industry being hit strongly. Example like aviation, example like tourism. Some are fortunate enough to recover a little bit, but there are many industry being affected during this period of time. Individually, our lifestyle has been changed. Okay, be it you want or you don't want. Uh, so a lot of people has been complaining that they have no time and no opportunity to cut their hairs. So internationally, we are less mobile compared to the previous time before the COVID-19. Right now, the airport is almost empty with very minimal people traveling. All right, what else? In terms of the community, this is the new norm. Social distancing, people wearing masks and whatnot. So life will not be going back to the same way as before COVID-19. This is the real fact that we as leader in JCI need to acknowledge. So I want to ask you this question. Are you ready for the transformation or not? If things are not able to go back to the time as what we are experiencing in the past. So, are you ready, being a GSI leader for the transformation? All right. So, I think to actually get ourselves prepared for the new transformation, we need to have a new mindset in order to generate new results. Okay. So, what are the new mindset that we need to cultivate? So there are two, the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. So ladies and gentlemen, my fellow GSI members, So giving an options, which one would you choose for? You would choose for a fixed mindset or you would choose for a growth mindset. Fixed mindsets are people who always resist to new change. When we ask them to learn a computer skill, they say, no need, I can hire someone to do the job for me. Or I need, I prefer a more natural lifestyle. I do not want to touch on computers, etc. Okay? So these are the people with fixed mindset. Fixed mindset. On the other hand, people with growth mindset are people who continuously looking for opportunity to grow. A growth mindset will usually have this kind of statement in their mind. All right, I can be good at anything. Okay, I try until I get the result I want, regardless what are the obstacles and what are the challenges that I may face. So a people with growth mindset will also have this statement in their mind very often. They will say, I embrace challenges. Challenges is an opportunity for me to learn a new skill. All right. So people with growth mindset will also say, I welcome feedback, criticism. What else? I like learning things that I don't know and I'm ready to transform. So my fellow participants, do you have this kind of statements in your mind or not? All right. Most of the time, think about it. So to actually coach ourselves for a growth mindset, as a leader, we need to continuously asking ourselves the following questions. The first question goes like this: what do I want to achieve next? Example, okay, when everyone's being locked down, nothing that we can do. Okay, majority people would just stop and observe, wait for the thing, what we call the issues to pass. Okay, but there are some people, very few people, do not just stop and wait for the issues to settle. There are a few people who will always ask themselves this question: what do I want to achieve next? If we cannot organize physical activity, we cannot organize community works. So what can I do? What can I do to achieve the next achievement? So also ask yourself this question: how can I do differently to achieve it? Okay, can I do different way? If everyone's cannot go out, do we have alternative? Do we have any substitutions in order to achieve the result that we aspire for? How do I keep going when I'm about to give up? Last question: what can I learn from people who has been continuously transforming? Okay, um, this is one of the easiest way for us to improve our leadership. We always have someone in our mind. Okay, whether you know him or you doesn't know him is okay. So think about who is the leader that you most admire. Okay, and list down the quality that he or she has, and you just work on those quality. All right, so let me just repeat this 4 questions. What do I want to achieve next? How can I do differently to achieve it? How do I keep going when I'm about to give up? And what can I learn from people who has been continuously transforming? So I want all my fellow participants to probably screenshot or write down these 4 questions, think about it, and hopefully you are able to obtain some answers out of it by today. Okay? So leadership in new norms, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to share with you guys a few what we call things that we should take note. First, if we consider that this is a tough time, uh, then what should you do? One of the quote that I always tell people is challenges are certain. All right, challenges are certain in our life. And I guess the question is whether we defeat the challenges or we are being defeated by the challenges. Okay, let me just rephrase this. Challenges are certain, but we have a choice. We have a choice to defeat the challenges or being defeated by the challenges. So being a leader now, okay, we are in a tough time. So if you do not want to be defeated by the tough time, the only way is to become tougher, all right, during the tough time. Mentally, physically, spiritually, you need to be tougher because all your members counts on you. Okay? Regardless how difficult you are, you must behave like a duck swimming on the surface of the pool. Your legs need to keep paddle, paddle, paddle without resting. All right? So the next leadership in new norms, we are talking about transformation from crisis to opportunity. All right? From crisis to opportunity. We all know very well that behind every crisis, there is a hidden opportunity. Whether we are able to dig out the opportunity, it will be depends on our personal courage and personal vision in the during the difficult times. So a great leader in the new norms must be able to turn crisis into opportunity. All right. Always assess any possibility. All right. Any possibility that will be able to generate a positive result. So another tips which I would like to share with my fellow participants today is to be a highly disciplined person. Okay, because when COVID-19 global pandemic strikes, if your country administer a lockdown or a movement control order, that is to say that everyone is not required to go into office 9 to 5 anymore, and there will be no colleagues, no peers, no supervisor, no bosses checking on your work progress. Similarly, in JCI, when you are away from your JCI members, all right, no one is checking on what you are doing. So you're basically very free because you're alone at home. All right. So if you are in such situation, okay, you got to be a highly self-disciplined person. People who are working in what we call a freelance job, okay, be it a sales agent, insurance agent, are very often highly disciplined people. They are able to organize their own schedule in meeting clients, attending meetings, cultivating some good habit without anyone instructing them. All right. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, being a leader in the new norms, uh, you have absolute freedom in terms of your time. So make sure you continue to be a highly self-disciplined person. All right. Arrange your schedule at home, what you should do when you wake up until the time that you go to your bed. All right. So in your schedule, you need to relate to your JCI mission. Always have an agenda that you do follow ups with your JCI members. All right. So in that case, you can actually have your own system. Example, you can actually call up your new member every 3 days to check out their progress and give them some words of motivation and make sure that your board meeting continue to be carried out via a Zoom facility or similar applications. All right, so guys, ladies and gentlemen, another tips which I wish to share with you guys about leadership in new norms is to empower your team member, particularly your board of director, with a high level of trust. Okay, things are different before the COVID-19 global pandemics. All right, of which you probably have many times or many opportunity to meet up with your board of director face to face. So without that convenience or without that facility, so trust is absolutely important. So how to cultivate trust? It requires a lot of teamwork among yourself, and you can actually use technology to communicate with your team member. So that this is another point that I want to emphasize to you, ladies and gentlemen. Optimization of technology in new norms is very, very crucial. Okay, being a leader in this new era, we cannot avoid from using mobile phone or laptops in communicating with our team members. So you need to learn new skills in utilizing all these communication applications. All right. So optimize technology in new norms is one of the crucial topic for leadership in this time. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave some time for question and answer if you have any, but allow me to make some conclusion here. All right, the call for our leadership remain unchanged. Okay, that is to serve the fellow GCI members. So, to welcome the new norms, it requires a new mindset, which is a growth mindset instead of a fixed mindset. All right, and when you are ready with this growth mindset, you also need to pick up new competency. And today, I would like to emphasize 5 key areas of transformation. First, mentally, you need to be tougher in tough time. Second, turn crisis into opportunity. Number 3, be a highly disciplined person. Number 4, empower your team member with trust. And number 5, optimization of technology to ensure that your LO is dynamic. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I have come to the end of my sharing today. I would like to end my presentation with this final slide, which consists of different wordings for different country, but generally it means thank you. Thank you so much. And as we always believe that the brotherhood of man transcends the sovereignty of nations, for those participants who wish to keep in touch with me, you may contact me via the email and also Facebook as stated on the slide. So once again, thank you very much to APDC Connect for arranging these sessions for me to do a little bit sharing to all fellow participants today. Thank you so much. So over the time to Skylar.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Gary, for this wonderful sharing on leadership styles during this pandemic. Gary, I would like to ask you one question. Which leadership style do you think you are?
Definitely servant leadership, but it also consists of certain
Servant
portions of charismatic leadership because I'm a public speaker in certain contexts. So I think that kind of energy is pretty crucial because via public speaking, we are able to convey our idea and message clearly and more efficiently to the public. And for me personally, I'm also a very democratic leader. So it will be a mixture of democratic, charismatic, as well as the servant leadership.
All right, thank you.
But in that context, I always remind myself to serve my members to create a development opportunity for them.
All right, thank you. For those who wanted to ask questions as well, especially in this Zoom, you may type in the chat box, let us know, let Gary know. Any question on the slides you see, maybe you want Gary to help you identify what leadership styles are you. Oh, I saw one. JCI Shiva, PD Bushel MVP. Do I call you Shiva? You can unmute yourself. You're muted right now. Let me help.
Yes,
okay.
you can call me Shiva. Hello
Hi,
from
Shiva.
Nepal.
Do you have a question?
Yes,
You have a very nice background.
I have
Where are
one
you?
question for him. Sir, thank you so much for a wonderful session. I really appreciate it. It was very fruitful. And as well as one question to you. We see many people, many leaders in a society, in a country. Sometimes they are in a different behavior, different type of same persons. Depends on a condition. They show the different type of leadership. And sometimes it is hard for us to analyze and sometimes follow for them. Could you suggest me which kind of leadership can be the best for the people?
Well, there's no absolute answer for this, but if you were to ask me, we have to understand which organization are we actually in. So in an organization like GCI, I always believe that we need to lead our member with the core values of GCI, which refer back to our GCI vision, GCI mission, and GCI creed. So when your organization consists a great number of people, definitely different people, they have different agenda, they have different value system, but it's okay. We do not need to go micro. We do not need to attend to each and everyone. So we just keep our feet on the ground and always uphold our GCI values. I think that is most important. And in terms of leadership, what I would suggest is you can use a mixture of leadership style, but always remember serving the members is the core of our leadership.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
All right, Gary, there's a question in the chat box by Chi. She said, is it possible if we become more than one type of leader? Because sometimes it depends in the condition and the context.
Okay. As mentioned, although we categorize leadership into different types, but we can always have a mixture of them. No worry. Chichi, you will not have any cycle problem by having different types in yourself. Okay.
I think if Chichi
But,
has, Gary would have as well, right? Since
yeah,
you're
yeah,
charismatic and servant leadership together.
yeah, true. So we categorize into different types. That is quite academic, and this actually helps us to analyze the pros and cons for each leadership style. There is no perfect leadership style. Each and every leadership style has its pros and cons. So when we divide them into different types, it actually helps us to study and to understand leadership style more academically. All right.
Thank you, Gary. There's another question in the chat box by Willie K. He asks how to lead someone who thinks he knows the best and what is considered our failure as leader. What should we do to that person and to ourselves?
All right. Thank you, Brother Billy. You have a long questions here. So let me just answer one by one. Probably I go to the questions asking about what is it considered our failure? Hold on. What is it considered our failure as a leader? As what I mentioned in my presentation just now, I think the greatest failure is we are not able to produce more leaders when we are in the leadership role. Okay, in GCI, we need to continuously producing leaders. That is very important. All right. So what should we do to that person? I don't quite get it, Brother Billy, but let me just go to the other one. How to lead someone who think he knows the best? Well, I guess if this person is super ego, practically it will be quite difficult. But as I mentioned, if now that your position, you are the leader and he is supposed to listen to you, then let's always go back to our core value system. And I think that is more than sufficient for us to lead this person now. Okay.
All right, there's another one from
Question:
Harshat.
who is successful leader according to you? Who is impactful or popular? Okay, thank you to APDCDO Harshad for that questions. To me, I think my national president is a very successful leader, all right, and very impactful as well because during the MCO period, he actually organized quite a number of national president dialogues and keeps our entire JC member motivated throughout this period of time. And who else? Of course, our country leaders. There are a couple of successful leaders as well. Okay.
Uh, Thank you for the answer, but I had a different question in another context. My question was, according to you, who is a successful leader? The one who has a greater impact in his leadership skills, or who is very popular? Between the two, who is a successful leader according to you? Thank you.
Okay. If that's your question, I think the answer is quite certain. Being a leader, we are not creating personal fame for sure. All right. At times, we may need to stand out because we represent the entire organization. But again, that is just part of the role of responsibility being the leader, because you are the representation for the organization. But it doesn't mean that we do that for our personal fame. So popularity is certainly not the right answer for the leader. So it should be creating the positive impact in our organization.
All right, thank you,
I
Gary.
hope I answered your question, Harshad.
Yes, very much. Thank you.
All right, cool.
All right, is there any more questions? I think we can take one or two more. We have 10 minutes until our next session. If not, I think we can call this the end of our session by Gary. Thank you for the sharing.
Thank you,
about
Skyler.
leadership. Appreciate a lot. Provide some insight on, I think one thing I catch me is that in this pandemic situation, it's easy for us to say, yeah, I can't do this, I can't do that because we're in a pandemic. A lot of things have stopped. It's very easy to give excuses, but it also provides a lot of opportunity. I think a lot of leaders some leaders might be missing out, and it's very easy to say there's nothing much I can do. But there's actually a lot of things that we can do as leaders to change. For example, going online. I know it's very difficult for many of us, even for me at first, to go online, have a meeting. It doesn't feel very proper. It felt like playing video games with my friends online, or wearing a tie and a coat in front in a formal meeting doesn't feel quite right. But this is the new norm, and we have to get used to it as leaders and taking things as the way as they are and change us. The only change is change that we will be receiving more changes. Who knows, the next wave is coming. Who knows, new changes will be coming. So there's so much opportunity that we need to grab whichever leadership you are. This is something I think quite true, and something that I can keep reminding myself. Take opportunities doing any situation, especially in this, and not giving myself an excuse for whichever leadership I am. Thank you, Gary, for that.
All right, thank you, Skyler. I hope you guys have however little enjoyed the session. Okay.
All right.
So everyone stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye bye.